If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem.
Your response, Mr. Homan?
First of all, you can't intimidate me. Come on, give me a break. You know, I was enforcing him. I was wearing a green uniform, Border Patrol agent, for 5 years before she was even born.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. So in this clip, we're going to watch from CNN. We're going to watch Tom Homan go off on AOC for pushing back against Tom Homan deporting illegal immigrants from her own district. Now, we all know why they want these people in their district. It's their voting bloc, right? This is who they want voting for them to help them remain in power. But she's upset because Tom Homan is deporting these illegals, and he's gonna punch back. So let's not waste any time and get into this video.
Now, sources tell CNN that the Trump administration is preparing to deploy hundreds more federal agents nationwide to arrest undocumented immigrants. It could happen as soon as this week. The plan, we're told, includes the use of Border Patrol agents across the country and support from state National Guard units. And joining us now is the president's border policy advisor, Tom Homan, often called the Trump administration's border czar. Mr. Homan, thank you so much. Welcome to The Lead. First, what can you share about the Trump administration preparing to deploy more agents soon? Where would they come from? How many of them? Where will they go? What are their tasks, et cetera?
Well, we're going to ramp up the number of teams in the interior of the United States.
I just love how they ask every time they're talking about immigration with Tom Homan or Trump. They ask him how they're going to facilitate this, right? How are you going to facilitate the deportation of millions of illegal immigrants? Where are they going to go? How are you going to do it, right? They never asked the Biden administration or Democrats, oh, well, how are you going to facilitate the invasion, right? How are we going to facilitate all of the illegal immigrants that are coming into this country going into these sanctuary cities, right? How are you going to facilitate that? Who's going to pay for it? Where are they going to go? Where they're going to work, right? They didn't ask any of these questions, but anytime that Trump proposes a policy, they always want to ask the logistics of it. Hilarious.
So we're building that teams now. We're going to increase the teams going out. They're coming from various agencies, right? We got about 14,000 officers within ICE between ERO and HSI. We want to pull more of them into this event. Plus, we got other federal agencies. You know, President Trump has all the government on this, so we got ATF, DEA, U.S. Marshals. You know, we got all the DOJ law enforcement entities, plus the State Department. So we're bringing law enforcement officials from all the federal agencies in.
Is the priority still violent criminals, or is it just anyone who is in this country and is undocumented, anybody in the country illegally?
The priority is always going to be public safety threats and national security threats, but the problem with that is in sanctuary cities, we can't get our hands on these people in the jail, where one agent can arrest one bad guy in jail. They release them to the communities, and that's why we're flooding the sanctuary cities zones right now. We got to send agents to the neighborhood. We got to send a whole team for officer safety reasons. So we're going to increase agents in these cities. We're also going to increase worksite enforcement in these cities, because we can't arrest them in a jail. Then we got to go to the community and the worksite to find these people. So that's what we're going to do.
White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said Friday that the Trump administration was actively looking at suspending habeas corpus. That's the legal principle that allows people who believe they're being unlawfully detained or imprisoned to petition a court for their release, to produce evidence. Today, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem told members of Congress that requirements had been met to suspend habeas corpus, although she noted she's not a constitutional lawyer. So is the administration talking about suspending habeas corpus only for undocumented immigrants, or are you talking about anyone who ICE and other agents might encounter in this deportation mission?
Well, I can tell you generally, look, this administration look at all the tools in the tool chest that we can use legally to remove the most dangerous and rather public safety threats and national security threats from this country, which is why we use the Alien Enemies Act. We use every tool available to us lawfully. I'm not involved with the whole habeas discussion. It's kind of out of my lane. I've been concentrating on the border and interior enforcement, so I'll leave that to your attorneys and DOJ to work that out, but it's really out of my lane. I have not been involved in those discussions at all.
Last week, CNN reported that the Trump administration was communicating with the country of Libya about having that country take undocumented immigrants from the U.S. And Reuters reported on a potential military flight to Libya being prepared. A federal judge said that Libya deportation flights would violate a prior court order. But are you aware of any such plans to deport individuals to Libya? And again, would that involve only violent undocumented criminals or any undocumented immigrants?
I'm not aware of any Libya plan, but I will say we're talking to numerous countries about them taking illegal aliens that their home countries won't accept them. So if their home countries won't accept them, they're a public safety threat and national security threats. We're looking for third safe countries to repatriate them to. So those discussions are ongoing.
Which, if any, other countries are you talking to about regarding shipping undocumented immigrants who are national security threats to?
Until we have a signed agreement, I won't disclose that. I mean, I'm not going to give them credit for something they're not doing yet. So we'll see what countries we get a signed agreement on, then we'll go from there.
Anecdotally, several members of my staff know people who are legal residents in the United States, some of them U.S. citizens from immigrant families, who describe themselves as being terribly afraid of doing anything to draw any attention to themselves or their families because of concerns they will be picked up and mistakenly deported. What do you say to people who say that this immigration crackdown is also creating, in addition to doing what you want it to do, it's also creating an atmosphere of fear among people who are in the United States legally?
Well, look, we're sending a message. It's not okay to enter this country legally. It is a crime. It's not okay to be in this country legally. It's not okay to hire an illegal alien because you're simply undercutting your competition who hires U.S. citizens. So it's not okay to be in this country legally. But President Trump's been, from the beginning, concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. We don't deport U.S. citizens. If you're a resident alien, you're here on a green card, you have certain rules when you get the resident alien card. You got to obey those rules. You can't violate the law because even resident aliens can be deported if they commit certain felonies or many misdemeanors. There's laws on the books which every resident alien who gets a green card knows what those rules are. So it's a great honor to be in this country, whether it's on a visa or whether you have a green card. Simply follow the rules and don't break the law and you'll be just fine.
Last Friday, there was
the people that are scared of getting deported just watch too much mainstream media. That's all it is. They're on the internet too much. Because not one time has the Trump administration or Tom Homan or anybody on that side ever said that we're going to deport American citizens, right? That's nonsense. So the people that are scared about getting deported, if you're here legally, they watch too much mainstream media. But see, I'm also an immigrant as well, but I'm not scared, right? Why am I not scared? Because I'm not watching mainstream media. I don't fall for the propaganda. They clearly say if you're here illegally, if you're in this country illegally, if you are here, if you're a legal resident, I usually have my passport. You'll have a passport. You'll have an ID. You'll have a social security. You'll have some type of documentation. So you're not going to get deported. You're probably not even going to run into an ICE agent. It is unlikely that you'll ever come across an ICE agent if you're here the right way. But if you're here illegally, or if you're harboring illegals, you're helping illegals, yeah, you're going to run into some ICE agents. You might get arrested. You might not get deported, but you might get arrested, right? Because you're interfering there. But no, if you're scared of getting deported, just stay off the internet.
It was obviously something of a to-do outside the ICE detention facility in New Jersey. Newark's mayor joined several members of Congress who came. They said they wanted to inspect the ICE facility as part of their congressional oversight duties. I'm sure you've seen the images. There was a lot of pushing and shoving. The mayor was arrested, pardon me, briefly detained. Over the weekend, a Department of Homeland Security spokesperson told CNN that one member of Congress body slammed an agent and threatened legal action against her. I spoke with that member of Congress, New Jersey Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, the woman in the red coat we're showing right now on TV right now. She denies body slamming anyone. I want to play something that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York posted on her Instagram account and get your reaction.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
What's your response, Mr. Homan?
First of all, you can't intimidate me. Come on, give me a break. You know, I was wearing a green uniform Border Patrol agent for 5 years before she was even born. I had more than 3 decades enforcing immigration law before she became a member of Congress. I worked for 6 presidents. I've seen policies, I've seen hundreds of policies. Some worked, some didn't. But you can't deny the success of the Trump administration when it comes to border security. Again, the most secure border in the history of this nation. And I said from day one, and she knows this, you can not support ICE, shame on you. You can support sanctuary cities, shame on you. But you can't cross the line. You can't knowingly impede ICE law enforcement officers. That is a felony. You can't harbor and conceal, knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE. That is a felony. And you certainly can't commit criminal trespass. You know, and as far as New York, her district, this administration has done more to protect her district than she has. The number of criminal aliens we took off the streets of New York made her community much safer. She ought to be thanking the members of this administration, the men and women of ICE who protect this country and make her community safer. So, you know, it's politics over public safety. It's just ridiculous. She ought to love her community more than she hates Trump, because we're doing a lot to protect her community.
Border Czar Tom Homan, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, so we're going to stop it right there. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, that we elected Donald Trump, is because he has people like Tom Homan in position to do what we elected them to do, right? This is exactly it. It's hilarious how AOC and all of these Democrats are still fighting against what the American people voted for. They wonder why their approval rating is in the tank, right? Because they're still actively fighting against what Donald Trump was elected for. The border and the economy are probably one of the top two main issues that we elected him for. So they're sitting there fighting against him on the tariffs, which he's been successful on, and they're fighting against him on the border, which he's been successful on. So that's why these Democrats will never win again until they change their ideas, their strategy, and their people that represent them, people like AOC and Jasmine Crockett. Until they get rid of these people and change their ideas, they will never win again. They will. I promise you that. They will never win again. More people are going to come out and keep voting for a Republican just to keep the Democrats away. Just to keep the Democrats away. Right? So I love this. I absolutely love how these people are going to continue to expose themselves and let them know, and let the American people know who they're actually working for, which is for the political establishment and corporate America. They're trying to bring in all of these illegal immigrants for cheap labor, and also to keep themselves in power. This is their new voter block. This is their new voter population that they're trying to bring in. Right? So that's why they're fighting so hard. They're fighting so hard. They're going all the way to El Salvador to try to bring them back into this country. Try to bring back an illegal immigrant that came into this country illegally back into this country after he got deported. Because that's one vote lost. One immigrant deported is one vote lost for the Democratic Party. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Let me know what your opinions are. Of course, if you are brand new, consider hitting subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.